People think family is forever, an unbreakable bond forged in blood and love. But sometimes that blood turns poisonous, and the ones you raised become the monsters under your own roof. I learned that the hard way when my son's hand cracked across my face, not in a fit of rage, but with the calculated precision of a thief stealing my dignity. The sting wasn't just skin deep, it burned into my soul, echoing the betrayal that had been building for months. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how my only child tried to bury me alive in my own home, only for justice to dig me out and crush him instead. The slap came on a Tuesday evening, the kind of ordinary day that fools you into thinking life is safe. I was in the kitchen, the scent of garlic and onions sizzling in the pan, filling the air with the warmth of a meal I'd prepared 1,000 times. My hands moved automatically, chopping vegetables with a rhythm born from years of nurturing a family. But inside, my mind was a whirlwind, flashes of doubt, memories of better days clashing with the growing tension in the house. How had it come to this? I wondered, my heart heavy as I stirred the pot, the steam rising like unspoken words. My son, Alex, stormed in with his wife, Lena, trailing behind like a shadow with sharp edges. His eyes were wild, veins bulging in his neck, his footsteps heavy on the tiled floor that Thomas had laid himself years ago. "Sign it, Mom," he snarled, slamming a thick stack of legal papers onto the counter. The force rattled the spice jars, one tipping precariously before righting itself. "Stop holding us back like we're kids." I froze, knife mid-chop over a carrot, the blade hovering as if time itself had paused. My mind raced back to a moment from Alex's childhood, him at 5 helping me in this very kitchen, his small hands clumsily peeling potatoes, laughing as peels flew everywhere. "Mommy, I am your big helper," he declared, his eyes sparkling with innocence. Now, those same eyes glared at me with contempt. "Alex, we've talked about this," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Your father left everything to me for a reason. I am not signing away our home." Lena stepped forward, her voice a silky venom that slithered into the air, masking the poison beneath. "Sarah, please. We're family. This is just to let Alex handle things properly. You are not as sharp as you used to be since, well, you know." Her words hung there, a subtle jab at my grief, as if Thomas's death had diminished me. I felt a pang in my chest, remembering the nights after his passing when I'd wander the halls, touching his things, whispering to his ghost. Was I really slipping, or was this their game? Before I could respond, Alex's palm connected with my cheek. The impact snapped my head sideways, a white-hot explosion that left my ear ringing and my vision spotted with stars. I tasted blood where my teeth cut the inside of my lip, metallic and sharp, grounding me in the horror of the moment. The knife clattered to the floor, skidding under the table. Lena gasped, but it was theatrical, her eyes gleaming with something like victory, her lips curving just slightly. Alex stood there, chest heaving, not a trace of regret in his posture. "That's what you get for treating me like I am nothing," he spat, his words slicing deeper than the slap. "Now sign, or it'll get worse." In that moment, as pain radiated through my jaw and tears blurred the world, I didn't scream or fight back. I just touched my face, feeling the heat rising under my skin, the swelling already beginning. My mind fragmented. Part of me wanted to collapse, to beg for the son I knew to return, while another part, buried deep, whispered that this was the end of excuses. How many times had I ignored the signs, the small digs, the growing coldness? I stood there, the kitchen suddenly feeling like a prison, the sizzle of the pan mocking the silence. But that slap was just the peak of a mountain of manipulation. To understand how we got there, I have to take you back to when life was a dream I never wanted to wake from, a time when love wasn't a weapon. My husband, Thomas, and I built our life from scratch. We met in college, 2 broke kids with big ambitions, sharing cheap ramen and late-night study sessions under flickering dorm lights. He became an engineer, working endless hours, overtime shifts that left him exhausted but determined to afford our dream home. It was a sprawling estate on 5 acres, with lush gardens he tended himself, planting each bulb with care. and a wraparound porch where we'd sip coffee at dawn, watching the sun paint the sky in hues of pink and gold. I can still feel the rough wood of that porch under my bare feet. Hear Thomas's low chuckle as he'd say, "This is our kingdom, Sarah. Built for forever." Alex was our miracle, born after years of trying. Fertility treatments that tested our marriage but ultimately strengthened it. From the start, he was the light of our world. I remember the day he was born, the sterile hospital room filled with his first cry, Thomas's eyes welling up as he held him, whispering, "He's perfect." Those early years were a blur of joy. Alex's tiny hands gripping Thomas's finger, his giggles echoing through the house as we played hide-and-seek in the halls, his chubby legs toddling after us in the garden. Flashbacks hit me now like waves, crashing unbidden. One vivid memory. Thomas teaching Alex to fish at the pond behind our property. Alex, maybe 7, his small rod wobbling in his hands, face scrunched in concentration. The sun glinted off the water, birds chirping overhead as Thomas knelt beside him, patient and guiding. "Easy now, son. Feel the tug." When Alex reeled in his first catch, a wriggling bass, his face lit up with pride. "Look, Mom, I did it," he'd shout, his voice high and pure, running to me with the fish flopping. I'd hug him, ignoring the slime, my heart swelling. "You are amazing, my little fisherman." Thomas would wink at me over his head, his love for us both evident in that simple gesture. Or the Christmases where we decorate the massive tree in the living room, the air thick with pine and holiday magic. Thomas lifting Alex to place the star, his strong arms steady, while I baked cookies in the kitchen, the scent of cinnamon and vanilla wafting through the house. Alex would sneak dough, his fingers sticky, giggling when caught. "Santa won't mind, Mom." Those were the days when love felt infinite, when Alex would crawl into our bed during thunderstorms, burrowing under the covers. "You are the best mom ever," he'd whisper, his breath warm against my neck. Thomas would pull us close, his arms a fortress against the world. "We've got the perfect family," he'd say, his breath warm against my ear, and I'd believe it with every fiber of my being. Even as Alex grew into a teenager, the bond held. There were rough patches, typical rebellion, arguments over curfews, but always underpinned by love. I recall a school play where Alex forgot his lines, freezing on stage. Thomas and I sat in the audience, my hand squeezing his as Alex's face crumpled. Afterward, we took him for ice cream, Thomas saying, "Everyone messes up, son. It's how you bounce back that counts." Alex had hugged me tight that night, mumbling, "Thanks for always being there, Mom." Those moments were anchors, reminders of the family we'd built. But cancer doesn't care about perfect families or cherished memories. Thomas's diagnosis came like a thief in the night. Stage 4, pancreatic, relentless and unforgiving. The word cancer echoed in my mind during that doctor's appointment, the room spinning as Thomas gripped my hand, his face pale but resolute. He fought for 2 years, his body wasting away while his spirit stayed fierce. Chemo sessions left him weak, hair gone, but he'd still try to garden, his hands trembling on the trowel. "Can't let the roses die," he'd joke, his voice raspy. In those final months, as the disease ravaged him, he pulled me aside one evening in our bedroom. The light was dim, the air heavy with the scent of medicine. His hands were skeletal, but his grip firm on mine. "Sarah, I've updated the will. Everything's in your name, the house, the savings, the land. But for Alex, there is a condition. He has to prove he's responsible, respectful, especially to you. No aggression, no forcing your hand. If he crosses that line, he gets nothing." I nodded, tears streaming down my face, my mind reeling. "Why the clause, Tom? Alex would never." My voice broke, thinking of our boy. Then, in his early 20s, just starting out, he smiled weakly, eyes shadowed with pain and wisdom. "Just in case, love. I trust him, but life's unpredictable. I've seen hints, his impatience, that sense of entitlement creeping in. Promise me you'll protect yourself." I promised, though I didn't believe it would ever come to that. Thomas had always been the planner, the protector. He passed quietly one rainy afternoon, his hand in mine, Alex on the other side. The rain pattered against the window like tears. The room filled with the beeps of machines slowing to silence. Alex sobbed, his shoulders shaking, while I felt a void open inside me, vast and aching. The funeral was a blur of black suits and condolences, whispered sympathies that did little to fill the emptiness. The house suddenly echoed with his absence, the garden overgrown, the porch swing creaking alone in the wind. Alex was devastated, clinging to me at first. "We'll get through this together, Mom," he whispered at the graveside, rain mingling with our tears, his arm around my shoulders. Lena, his new wife of 6 months, stood nearby, her arm around him, seeming supportive. I'd met her at the hospital during Thomas's treatments. She was a nurse, efficient and kind, or so I thought. "I am here for both of you," she'd said, her smile warm. I thought she was a blessing, a stable presence for Alex in his grief. How wrong I was. Looking back, I see the cracks even then. Her eyes lingering on the house during visits, her questions about the property casual but probing. The manipulation started subtly, like a crack in a foundation you don't notice until the walls tilt and groan under the weight. It began a week after the funeral, the house still filled with wilting flowers and half-eaten casseroles from neighbors. Lena offered to help organize Thomas's study, her voice sweet as honey, laced with concern. "Let me handle it, Sarah. You need rest. Grief takes so much out of you." Exhausted from sleepless nights, my mind foggy with sorrow, I agreed, retreating to my room where memories assaulted me. The scent of Thomas's cologne on his pillow, the indent where he'd slept, the way the light fell across his side of the bed. That evening, as I lay there staring at the ceiling, tracing patterns in the plaster, I overheard them in the hallway. Lena's whisper slithered through the door like smoke. "Alex, look at this. The will. Everything's in her name. And this clause, it says you only inherit if you are respectful to her. She's treating you like a child who needs supervision. Is that how your dad saw you?" Alex's response was muffled, confused, his voice cracking with residual grief. "What? Dad wouldn't. He loved me." "Exactly," Lena hissed, her tone sharpening. "He's gone, and she's hoarding it all. A real man takes charge of his family. How can you provide for me, for us, if she's pulling the strings? You deserve better, Alex. You deserve to lead." I froze in bed, heart pounding, my breath shallow. It was the first seed of poison, planted in the fertile soil of his grief and insecurity. My mind raced. Should I confront them? But exhaustion won, and I convinced myself it was a misunderstanding, that Lena was just trying to help him process. The next day, Alex's demeanor shifted, just a hair, but enough to notice. At breakfast, the table laden with toast and jam, he eyed me over his coffee, the steam curling like doubts. "Mom, maybe we should talk about the finances. Lena thinks it might help if I take over some bills, to ease your load." His words were gentle, but there was an undercurrent, a new edge. I smiled, brushing it off, though inside I felt a twinge of unease. "No need, honey. Your dad set it up perfectly. We're secure." But the seed had taken root. Lena lingered in the background, her eyes appraising the house like inventory at an auction. "It's such a big place for one person," she murmured one afternoon, her fingers tracing the banister Thomas had carved. "We could make it work for all of us, don't you think?" Small incidents piled up, each one chipping at my sanity like drops wearing away stone. Lena started rearranging furniture without asking. "Just freshening things up, Sarah. Grief clings to old setups, A new arrangement can help heal." I'd come downstairs to find Thomas's favorite armchair shoved into a corner, dust gathering on its arms, or my china cabinet emptied, delicate plates stacked haphazardly. "Where is my wedding china?" I'd ask, my voice trembling. Alex would defend her, his tone dismissive. "She's helping, Mom. Don't be so sensitive. It's just stuff." But it wasn't just stuff. It was memories, pieces of Thomas. I'd retreat to the garden, kneeling among the roses, my fingers in the soil, remembering Thomas's hands next to mine, his laugh as we plant new bulbs. "These will bloom forever just like us," he'd say. Now, the petals seemed wilted, mirroring my spirit. Then came the gaslighting, slow and insidious, creeping in like mist that obscures everything. I'd misplaced my keys, searching frantically only to find them in odd spots, the freezer, a flower pot. Maybe you are forgetting things, Lena said sympathetically one day, her hand on my arm, cold despite the warmth in her voice. It happens after loss. We can get you checked if you want. Alex nodded along, concern feigned on his face. Yeah, Mom. You seem scattered lately. Let us handle more. It's for your own good. My inner thoughts swirled in turmoil. Am I losing it? Is grief fogging my mind, making me unreliable? Flashbacks to Thomas's illness haunted me. The way he'd forget words in his final days, his frustration palpable. Was that my fate? I doubted myself, second-guessing every decision, every memory. But love blinded me. I excused it as adjustment pains, clinging to the hope that time would heal us all. The escalation crept in like fog thickening to storm clouds. One night, over a dinner I cooked. Roast chicken, the aroma filling the dining room. Alex announced casually, "We're moving in permanently. Lena's pregnant, we need stability here." Joy surged through me initially, a spark in the darkness. Pregnant? That's wonderful. I hugged them, feeling Alex's arms around me, reminiscent of his childhood embraces. But unease flickered. Lena's eyes didn't match her smile, and there was no glow, no telltale signs. Still, I pushed it aside, dreaming of a grandchild filling the house with laughter again. But the pregnancy became a weapon, wielded with precision. Lena feigned morning sickness, lounging dramatically on the couch Thomas had loved, her hand on her belly. "I need rest, Sarah. Could you handle the chores? The smell of cleaning products makes me nauseous." Soon I was cooking 3 meals a day, cleaning the vast house, my back aching as I scrubbed floors, while they whispered in corners, their heads close. Alex's comments sharpened. "Mom, the house is too big for you alone. Sign over management rights so I can invest properly. For the baby. Think of your grandchild." I resisted, my voice firm but my heart wavering. "No, Alex. Your father's will is clear. We can discuss allowances but not transfer." Inside, guilt gnawed. Am I denying my son his future? Flashbacks to Thomas's words echoed, "Protect yourself." But motherhood's pull was stronger. That's when the isolation began, wrapping around me like chains. They invited Lena's parents over frequently. Boisterous, domineering folks who filled the house with their presence, treating it like theirs. Her mother, a sharp-tongued woman with a perpetual frown, would say, "Sarah, dear, you are in the way here," shooing me from my own kitchen as she took over. Her father, a burly man with a booming voice, would clap Alex on the back. "Good on you, son. Time to take the reins." Friends called less. Alex answered the phone, his voice smooth. "Mom's resting. She's not up for chats." My world shrank to the estate's walls, loneliness gnawing like a constant hunger, my days filled with echoes of what was. The first enraging peak hit during an argument about the garden, the air thick with the scent of blooming roses. Lena, lounging by the window, sneered, "That garden's outdated. We should pave it for a pool. Better for the baby." "Absolutely not," I said firmly, my hands clenching. "That's your father's legacy." He planted every rose with love. Alex exploded, his face reddening. "Legacy? Dad's dead, Mom. This is my future now." He grabbed my wrist, twisting hard, his fingers like vices. Pain shot up my arm, bruising blooming under his grip like dark flowers. I yelped, pulling away, but he loomed close. "Sign the papers, or you'll regret it. You are standing in the way of our family." Lena watched from the side, smirking faintly, her hand absent-mindedly on her belly. "He's stressed about the baby, Sarah. Don't push him. Think of the little one." I retreated to my room, arm throbbing, shame flooding me like a tidal wave. Why didn't I call the police? Because he was my boy, the one who'd drawn me Mother's Day cards with crayoned hearts, misspelled words full of love. I told myself it was a one-off, grief-fueled outburst. But deep down, fear rooted. Fear of losing him entirely, of being truly alone. I bandaged my wrist, staring at my reflection, the lines of age and sorrow etched deeper. The psychological torture deepened, layer by layer. Lena's pregnancy worsened. She claimed bed rest, demanding I wait on her hand and foot. The doctor says stress could cause miscarriage. She'd whine from the bed, her voice weak but eyes sharp. Alex echoed, his tone accusatory. Help her, Mom, or you are risking your grandchild. Do you want that on your conscience? Guilt twisted my guts like a knife. I'd bring trays of food, soup simmering, bread warm, only for her to complain. This is cold. Do better. The baby needs nutrition. Alex would side with her. See, you are not thinking straight. Let us take over more. My inner monologue was relentless. Am I failing as a grandmother before it even begins? Thomas would want me to support them. But flashbacks countered. Thomas and I in the garden, dreaming of grandchildren. They'll play here, Sarah, among the roses, he'd say, his eyes twinkling. Now, that dream was weaponized, twisted into control. They locked me out of rooms for safety, the clicks of new locks echoing like finality. My study, Thomas's old office with his books and desk, gone. We need space for baby things, Alex said, his voice casual as he turned the key. I'd press my ear to the door, hearing them laugh inside, plotting in low tones, my heart breaking a little more each time. The second peek came with forgery, discovered by accident. I received a utility bill in the mail addressed to Alex as the account holder. My signature, forged crudely, at the bottom. I confronted them in the living room, the paper shaking in my hand. This is fraud. How could you? Lena clutched her belly dramatically, her face paling theatrically. You are upsetting me. The baby, feel this stress. Alex shoved me against the wall, the thud reverberating, his breath hot on my face. Shut up, Mom. You are paranoid. Sign the real transfer or we'll make your life hell. No one will believe you anyway. You are the grieving widow losing her mind. The shove left a bruise on my shoulder, purple and tender, but the words scarred deeper, embedding doubt. Isolation peaked. They changed the Wi-Fi password, monitored my calls like wardens. For your own good, Lena purred, her smile predatory. We don't want you wandering online, getting confused. Then, the fake illness twist revealed itself in fragments, piecing together like a puzzle I didn't want to solve. I overheard Lena on the phone one night, her voice low in the hallway. Yeah, the pregnancy is working wonders. She's crumbling, doing everything we ask. No need for real doctors, just some props from the store. My blood ran cold, the phone slipping from my ear as I eavesdropped from the stairs. Was it all a lie? The morning sickness, the demands, all fabricated? My mind reeled, flashbacks to her announcement, the lack of doctor's appointments. How had I been so blind? But before I could confront, the third peak struck like lightning. They evicted me to the guest cottage, the decision announced over breakfast. You are too emotional, Mom, Alex said, gripping my arm again, nails digging in like claws, drawing pinpricks of blood. Move out there. Give us space to prepare for the baby. It's better this way. I packed a bag, tears streaming silently, the cottage's musty air choking me as I entered. Sensory details haunted. The cold, creaky floor under my bare feet, the distant laughter from the main house piercing the night, the ache in my bruised limbs throbbing with every movement. Alone in the dim light, I curled on the bed, sobs racking my body. Inner thoughts assaulted. How did my son become this? Thomas, what would you say? Flashbacks flooded. Alex is a toddler, falling and running to me for comfort. Now, I was the one fallen, discarded. My brother David arrived unannounced a week later, his car crunching gravel in the driveway, the sound a lifeline. He saw me emerge from the cottage, my face gaunt, confusion etching his rugged features. Sarah? Why aren't you in the house? This is your home? Alex lounged on the porch, phone in hand, legs crossed casually. That's our home now. Mom's fine back there. She's adjusting. David's fury ignited, his eyes narrowing. You what? Explain this now. That confrontation cracked the facade wide open. David, a retired detective with a no-nonsense demeanor honed from years on the force, stayed the night in the cottage, piecing together my story in the dim light of a single lamp. Sarah, This is abuse. Physical, emotional, financial. We need evidence. Tell me everything. As I recounted the slaps, the twists, the forgeries, tears flowed anew. David listened, his jaw clenching, notes scribbled furiously. First, we document, he said, his voice steady. Secretly, he installed hidden cameras, small, discreet devices in the main house during a friendly visit the next day. Just in case, he said, winking, though his eyes were serious. These will capture the truth. The recordings captured horrors beyond imagination. Lena admitting the pregnancy was fake in a hushed call. A little white lie to soften her up. She's eating out of our hands. Alex laughing about the bruises in a conversation with Lena. She'll sign eventually. Old ladies break easy, just a little more pressure. Their voices, tinny through the audio, sent chills down my spine when David played them for me. Twist one unfolded brutally, the fake pregnancy exposed in full. On the recordings, Lena laughed with her mother. No baby, just some padded clothes and nausea pills for show. But it's working. Sarah's guilt is our best tool. Medical records, later subpoenaed, showed no doctor visits, no ultrasounds, just over-the-counter props bought online. My heart shattered, the grandchild I dreamed of, a phantom. But before that revelation hit the courts, deeper manipulation surfaced. Lena's affair. Recordings caught her with a lover in my bedroom, the sanctity violated. Her whispers. Once Alex gets the house signed over, we ditch him. My family's drowning in debt. This estate flips for millions, fixes everything. You are in? The man's voice, low and greedy. All in, babe. Twist 2, the affair reveal, tying into her family's bankruptcy scheme. They were using Alex as a pawn, planning to sell the estate for quick cash, her parents' financial ruin the hidden motive. David uncovered filings, her family on the brink, loans defaulting. Escalation peaked when they trashed Thomas's belongings, the act caught on camera. I snuck into the house one afternoon, the door unlocked by mistake, and found his medals scattered on the floor, photos torn from frames. Stop, I cried, my voice breaking as I gathered them, shards of glass cutting my palms. Alex burst in, eyes blazing. What are you doing here? He slapped me again, harder, the crack echoing, my head reeling. Get out, you crazy bitch. This is our house now. That night, pain searing through my face and hands, I called David, my voice a whisper. File it all. I can't take this anymore. The climax built in the courtroom, a drama of revelations unfolding over days, the air thick with tension. The courthouse was stark. Wooden benches worn from countless stories, the judge a stern woman with sharp eyes behind glasses. David presented the wills clause first. Twist 3, not just conditional inheritance, but a secret trust fund for me alone if Alex failed. Plus, a letter from Thomas predicting this very nightmare. My dear Sarah, the letter read, his handwriting shaky but familiar. If you are reading this, things have gone wrong. Protect yourself. Don't let love blind you to danger. I wept silently as it was read aloud, flashbacks to Thomas writing it in his sickbed overwhelming me. Prosecutor, a no-nonsense man in a crisp suit. Miss Sarah, describe the abuse in detail. I testified from the stand, my voice trembling at first, hands clasped to stop the shaking. The slaps echoes in my memory. The bruises purple bloom on my skin, the isolation suffocating weight like a shroud. It started with words, I said. Whispers turning my son against me. I detailed the first wrist twist, the pain shooting like fire, my inner fear. Is this my fault? Did I fail as a mother? Cross-examination was brutal. Alex's lawyer, slick and aggressive. Isn't it true you were forgetful, Mrs. Sarah? Perhaps exaggerating? No, I countered, drawing strength from Thomas's letter in my pocket. I remember every bruise, every lie. The courtroom murmured, the judge banging her gavel. Lena took the stand next, her belly showing under a loose dress, but under cross-examination she crumbled. It was just talk, she insisted, but the prosecutor pressed, no medical records explain. She stammered, her composure cracking, admitting, It wasn't real. But I didn't mean harm. Then the recordings played. Twist 4. Audio of the abuse, the fake pregnancy confession, the affair plotting with her lover. The courtroom gasped collectively, whispers rippling like waves. Lena's face drained of color. Her parents in the gallery shifting uncomfortably. Warrants already in motion for them. Alex, in his orange jumpsuit, stared at the floor, his hands cuffed, betrayal etching his features as he heard Lena's voice betray him. The cross-examination of Alex was extended, drawn out over hours. "Did you strike your mother?" the prosecutor demanded. Alex shifted, eyes darting. "It was stress. The baby, no baby," the judge interjected sharply. "Per the evidence." Alex broke then, tears flowing. "I thought I was being a man," he mumbled. But the damage was done. Arrests came mid-trial, dramatic and swift. Alex for assault, fraud, elder abuse, led away in chains as he screamed, "Mom, how could you? This is your fault!" Lena for conspiracy, her lover hauled in too, testifying against her for a plea. Her family faced bankruptcy fraud charges, the estate their desperate Hail Mary, exposed to financial records David subpoenaed. David's evidence sealed it, the judge's voice resounding. "This is despicable, a betrayal of trust, family, law. Inheritance revoked, property restored to Sarah. Sentences, Alex 5 years, Lena 3 with probation." Cathartic justice unfolded. Alex got 5 years in prison, his appeals denied, divorced by Lena who fled penniless, her reputation shattered. Her family bankrupted, assets seized in civil suits, their empire crumbling. I reclaimed the house, the keys heavy in my hand, transforming it into a women's shelter. My full empowerment, a legacy for those like me. The moral? Blood doesn't excuse betrayal. Love yourself enough to fight back, even against your own. In the end, the greatest inheritance isn't money or a house. It's the strength to reclaim your life from those who try to steal it.